Jeremiah Stacy Big Blue Eldridge, also known as CEO, was headed towards becoming one of the biggest and hottest and youngest record executives to emerge out of St. Louis, Missouri, his hometown. Starting his own record company at the age of 19 with an urgency to clean the dirty street money and turn it into a legitimate business. Jeremiah took his street entrepreneurship from the blocks of St. Louis to the recording booth by starting Show Me Mo Records, better known as Show Mo. He was on the path to changing many lives through his newfound hustle, music. This once promising past would end up as a road of memories due to Jeremiah's life being taken from us on Saturday, September 30th, 2000. This once promising path would end on a road of memories. Jeremiah Stacy Big Blue Eldridge was born January 1st, 1977 to his father Tyree Riley and his mother Diane Eldridge.
Hi, my name is Diane Eldridge Rucker, and I'm the mother of Jeremiah Eldridge. I met Jeremiah's father at my grandmother owned a place called Trailer Food Shop, so that's where I met him at when I was like 17. Yeah.
Jeremiah was the third oldest amongst five siblings.
My name is Earl Eldridge. My family also know me by Dornell. That's the name that they all call me since I was a kid. And Jeremiah Eldridge is my little brother. He was the third sibling out of five that my mother had. Her name is Diane Eldridge Rucker. And Jeremiah he was one of the smartest kids, man. You know, he would take, man, he had this thing that he would do. He would take apart like radios or VCRs and stuff like that. That's all like electronic components. Take them apart, put them back together. He was an excellent student too, man. You know, straight A student. I used to call him a nerd, man. You know.
Jeremiah was always inquisitive on things. He always uh, was I would say, like being challenged. Like for example, I can give you this time. He was real inquisitive. So this one time it's like you know how the where you plug in the extension cord, where he was so inquisitive that until he had to really find out what that was, what did that do. So he stuck his tongue down on it. I'm like, boy. And he went as he got older, he grew up. He had a little mark. Did you ever see the little mark? Right, that's where that came from. Because he was just very inquisitive. He always wanted to know what made something tick. What was how what why do that do that or whatever. He was just very inquisitive.
Growing up with my brother Jeremiah, it was um, adventurous, funny. Uh, even back then, the time then when we wasn't like he wasn't even really on the street life. Man, he always surprised you with something, like with building something, joking matter, neighborhood fights.
Due to the fact that his mother was actively involved in the church, Jeremiah was baptized and joined the junior choir at a young age. Because he was part of the church for so many years, he developed a love and passion for music.
Well, Jeremiah, we went to this church called Rock Hill, and it was my sister, I, and my nephews and nieces, and we had joined the church and everything. And Jeremiah, they joined the choir because one thing about it, as coming up, didn't know too much spiritually about who God was, but me and my sister, we knew of God, so we tried to make, put our kids to where they would be able to learn something about who Jesus was, because it's just like we was just kind of like finding our way ourselves. So yeah, so that's why he ended up in that environment like that, and he loved to sing in the choir.
My name is Linda Buchanan, and I'm Jeremiah's aunt. He was involved in the church choir Rock Chapel with his sisters and his sister and brothers and his cousin. So they all participated in the choir, and Jeremiah was there, and he sang with the rest of them, and whatever was required of them, that's what they did. Uh, we would go to other churches and sing. Um, so that kind of gave them the experience of getting out and mingling with other people on another platform for them.
We was like compatible. Like we used to have like competitions just different with different choirs throughout the city or whatever. And we used to go to their church competition. They come to our church. Man, it was cool. Like for us, I was knowing back then, like being compatible and like I wouldn't call church showbiz, but like more entertaining. It was like we soaked in the entertainment of being, competing against, different churches and singing or whatever.
While going through adolescence, Jeremiah found himself less interested in being part of church functions, but was more and more concerned about hanging with his friends.
Jeremiah stopped going to church probably at the age around, probably about maybe 14, 15, probably about 15, somewhere in that area. He stopped going to church. Jeremiah he always had a passionate heart about uh, taking care of doing things for his family. And then at the time, back then, I was on Section 8. And Jeremiah always wanted to, he wanted things better in life. So he thought it was a better way to get to, to come up. So he chose the streets. He chose to let the streets teach him. At that particular time, he just got off course. He just, as I said, he let the streets. I guess you could say he adopted the guys in the street or as a family. I guess he chose that life, as I said, because he wanted better than what I could offer him. So, and he wanted to do better, and not only that, he wanted to do better for his family. But as I used to tell him, that's not a good way to go. That's something that that he shouldn't be. He shouldn't do that because trouble. Because it's not that it's trouble out there in the streets, and the streets don't love you. You know, that's just what it is. And the streets is not your family. They don't care nothing about you.
At this point in his life, he would find himself getting into a lot of trouble with the law. He ended up in the juvenile court system.
When Jeremiah was going through the juvenile system, it was hard on all of us, man. Because, in a way I kind of took some type of responsibility for what happened to him, And just one of those things, man, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Got caught up. And I just really had with that, man, I kind of had an issue with my mother about that, because it was a situation where he could have actually came home earlier than what he did, you know what I'm saying? But, and during that time, when he was locked up in juvenile, they had him at the facility in Clayton. Man, I would write him, you know what I'm saying? He would write me, try to keep his spirit up, man, and just let him know, man, you good, man. When you just try to, keep him positive, man, because being locked up, man, that ain't no good feeling, bro. So, I just try to keep him positive, man, and just let him know, man, I got your back, bro. When you get out, you know, you're gonna be good.
When Jeremiah, my brother, got in juvie, uh, I say it was it kind of took it like the cold place for me and my sister because my younger sister Boo, you know, because we were so connected with our brothers, not only just our siblings period. He's very close, so when he went to juvie, I kind of took a toll. Pretty much, I ain't really blame my mother or nothing like that, but she was kind of like wanted to teach him a lesson, and you know. But at the time when he was away, it was just like, you know, it was kind of look cold. But when we went to go visit, you know, it was a really special time for me because even before money and all that stuff, we stayed close no matter what. You know what I'm saying? We was as brothers.
After completing his last recommendations with the juvenile court, he was released. Jeremiah moved then to becoming part of the largest money-making business in the United States of America, the dope game.
Double ups and eight balls, bring trouble up when they call. Traffic got them crackheads going AWOL like they saw a ghost, grinning their teeth and clenching their throat.
I introduced him. You know, I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. You know, he didn't have a clue. That's how he ended up in juvie. You know, so back to that. You know, but once Jeremiah got out here, man, once he came home, he moved in with me. And once he came home, I noticed a change in him. You know, from being 15, now he done turned into a young man. He 18 years old now. Came out, he taller, you know. He left about 5'7", 5'8". He done came back like 6'1", you know. So, yeah, he had like a little chip on his shoulder, man. He was just different, you know. And to me, it just seemed like he always tried to please me, you know what I'm saying? When he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do none of that, but he just wanted to be his own man. He had got to the point he didn't want me to tell him what to do no more. He was his own man, so I had to respect that. He gave them people 2.5 years of his life. I didn't, you know? So whatever he was with, I was with him, you know what I'm saying? And he knew I had his back, and it was, you know, that's what it was, you know? So Jeremiah did what he did, man, you know? To him and to me at that time, it was just the way we had to survive, you know? So we did what we had to do.
Well, how I came about knowing that Jeremiah sold drugs because I kept seeing many different faces coming to my house. And I can remember a time that I drove up from work, and I found this out like years later. I got out from work, I came home, and I pulled in my driveway, and they all came from nowhere. Like, look, I'm like, and then Jeremiah, that's my mama, that's my mama. And I'm like, what's going on? So then I just started observing different things. So I noticed that, yeah, I noticed that he was doing things that was not, that he normally wouldn't do. And I think the reason why the streets really, really took over him because Jeremiah was very, very smart. And he went to Webster School District, and he didn't get suspended. He got what they call kicked out. I mean, like, he could never return back ever again. He could never go to that school district. Something happened in the school district where something about he had something in his locker, but he could never go back there again. So, and I think then that's when he really went to the street.
I can't really say when I found out Jeremiah. I started beginning to hear rumors, and I was like, I couldn't see it. But then later on, it became evident that that's what was going on, that Jeremiah was selling drugs, and Jeremiah had a lot going on. I really didn't know Jeremiah and stuff, but I, but I was always like I felt like I always had to watch over Jeremiah and all the children. So I always kept a close eye on him, even knowing what he was doing. And I didn't know the depth of it. I really didn't.
He kind of got pretty much an idea, like influence and following through my cousin in Chicago, Austin. Like he was in college. My cousin Austin was in college and stuff, but at the same time he was, doing this little thing, and he was also investing in it, like real estate. So Jeremiah kind of got the idea, and for he was looking up to Austin, and also my oldest brother Earl. They was kind of getting into that mode of cleaning their money up.
Jeremiah, when he started hustling, man, you can tell he was getting it because the cars changed, the clothes started changing, and then he just used to pick you up, well, pick me up, and we just ride around, and all he'd do was just collect money.
Shit, man, he was just a real nigga for real, man. He just had that work ethic, that hustle, you know what I'm saying? That nigga was just hungry, you hear me? Shit, whatever that nigga put his mind to, he was at it, you hear me?
I remember one time we pulled up to the senior home. I'm thinking we about to go see I don't know who we were going to see, but we go up to take the elevator up. We go into this lady apartment. It's an old lady. I swear she about like, man, about 80, 70 something, 80, man, I ain't lying. Go in there, she all scrunched up. She like, hey, Blue. She go in there, man, she done whipped up so much heroin for him. So he was going there to go pick up some heroin. She whipped up about 5 ounces of heroin for him. So that's the type of stuff that man was on, man.
Jeremiah was approximately 17 years old when we met. It was around the spring of 1995. I was at home taking some things out of my trunk, and he drove down the street in this like 1972 like Chevy Impala, and he backed up and pulled back, asked me my name and all that. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why is this boy trying to talk to me? I was 26 years old at the time. So anyway, he pursued me. I ended up giving him my telephone number, and I was actually in a relationship at the time. Long story short, one thing led to another, and our thing like went really, really, really fast. Like I think I was like pregnant, and we were like living together within like the first few months that we met. It was crazy. He ended up probably within a couple of months, maybe 2 to 3 months into our meeting, he asked me to move in with him. And I was like, move in with you? I was like, no. So anyway, he told me that he was sharing an apartment with his older brother in the Central West End. So I ended up moving in with this man. I knew Jeremiah was selling drugs early in our relationship, like right away, because of the way he pulled up on me in the car, and it was customized. And I knew he was a bad boy, but it kind of turned me on, to be honest with you.
While many drug dealers in St. Louis were starting to search for ways to clean their drug money, they opened up car washes and barbershops, nightclubs, and bought property. Jeremiah started his investment journey by buying a couple of rental properties and purchasing a building to open up as a car wash.
Before Showmo Records, he invested in, he had a apartment building on Cavany, at Cavany and Goodfellow. He had a building there. We both opened up a beauty barber salon. Well, we didn't actually open it, fixed it up, put everything in it, had it ready to go. City council blocked us. That was something that we did together. Then we did, then that's when he ended up opening the car wash up.
due to being so young and having acquired so many resources. He knew that he was a target. He did not take disrespect lightly. At times, he could be quick to anger, pop shit off, and that was the reality because so many folks were coming for him.
I mean, my brother, like, once you feel like he feel like you ain't supporting him or trying to downgrade his come up, man, you don't want to be on the other side. So
He was loved and he was feared. And the way that they perceive him in the streets is, you know, he was loved, he was feared at the same time. You know, you loved him because he always, you know what I'm saying, he always looked out for you, you know, regardless. But if you was just someone that just wanted to test him or see if he really was that, he gonna let you know he that. You know, he was with the business, you know, so they knew it. Everybody knew it. He was with the business. When they seen him, you know, he either mess with you or he don't. It wasn't no in between with him. You know, he loved his family. He loved his friends. You don't want to be no enemy, man. You know what I'm saying? Because beef is beef. Like, that's how he took it. He took it as, and I think a lot of it came from being incarcerated. Just a little time when I told you he came out, he was a changed person. I seen it in his face. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the same, bro. And you know it's gonna be like that. Everybody gonna have you know, you put a group of young men together, you know, everybody wanna prove themselves, or I'm from this hood, or you from this neighborhood, and you know that's just how it was. It was even like that in the streets, you know. So whatever he took on in there, he brung it out in the streets. He brung that with him, you know. But he was with the business, but he didn't really have no choice because he was taught that. You know what I'm saying? He was taught, hey man, this what's going on right now.
Before he became the CEO of Showmo Records, Jeremiah had a number of enemies in the streets of St. Louis. But once the name Showmo started buzzing, and when people found out that he was the face behind it all, things turned up. He became a new father, and Jeremiah started to move with a sense of urgency.
Jeremiah's response when he found out I was pregnant was, he was always like, quit playing. You know, like, no, I'm seriously pregnant. And I think he was excited. I know he was excited. He was very excited. And he would tell all of his friends, brag to all of his friends, I got a baby on the way. He found out it was a girl. He was really, really excited. In the labor room, he was so excited. He had the video camera trying to record the birth, and he was like right there. And they had to tell him, you can't take it at that angle, sir. You got to come up into her head. He was really excited. I mean, he was excited. And then when the baby got here, he would like wake us up. I was living with my mom at the time. I had went back home to my mom. He would wake us up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, ringing the doorbell. And he would like literally have friends with him. Like we was just fresh home from the hospital, like days home from the hospital. He would ring the doorbell at 7 o'clock in the morning. He would be so excited. He just wanted everybody to see his baby daughter. Yes. He was so excited. And such a good dad at such a young age. I was impressed.
And Jeremiah started to move with an even greater sense of urgency. Once one of his close friends, Jeff Ashford, came up missing after visiting St. Louis. Supposedly headed back to Jefferson City, Missouri, a place where Jeff once attended college. Jeff went missing and was never seen again. Some said that Jeremiah had something to do with his disappearance. When Jeremiah got word what people were saying about this alleged incident, he began a deep emotional battle.
Yeah, Jeremiah and Jeff's relationship, they were like brothers, man. You know, I remember one time, Jeremiah and him bought the same truck, same color, same paint job, everything, y'all. It was the new Chevy Southern Comforts. When they came out, had the fade paint job on them and everything. Both of them had the same vehicle. And Jeff actually was a quiet dude, man. He he wasn't no outspoken dude or nothing like that. Just real quiet, always smiled. He would come around, come over to my house, you know what I'm saying, hang out. And he at the time, I know he was going to college up in Jeff City. He was going, I think, Lincoln University. And Jeremiah would go up there all the time and hang out with him and just tell me about, he just came, he'd be like, I was just up there hanging out with Jeff. And, they always had the little parties, the college campus parties and stuff like that, so. And the thing, and then Jeff just, the stuff with Jeff, he just disappeared. Remember Jeremiah came back one time, man, told me, he was like, hey, man, they can't find Jeff. So I was like, man, wow, what you mean they can't find him? They said he went missing. Nobody seen him, So that kind of worried Jeremiah. I mean, it hit him hard, man, for a long time. He talked about it. I think it even escalated his weed smoking. You know what I'm saying? Because, we used to smoke back then, but shit, Jeremiah was smoking like a chimney. Like, he really was smoking. And I think it bothered him, man,
My brother Jeremiah and Jeff, it's like this, man. Like, man, like if I ain't see bruh, I ain't see Jeff. I ain't see Jeff, I ain't see bruh. And Jeff was like more like, he's close to the family, man. Quiet dude, cool dude. I ain't never seen like a more humble person at that time. You know what I'm saying? He was just like real humble, man. And always bought his bread. And anything that went wrong, like it was like Jeremiah, he was the more kind of a hothead, but on gold type. Like he was the more of well, I could say he was more of the muscle of their relationship, and I at times I catch Jeff like talking to Jeremiah as a big brother or as a brother, like, man, it's cool. He was more of a, let's do it, you know what I'm saying? Let's get this money behind the radar, and you know what I'm saying? We'd be cool at the time, but at the same time, Jeremiah was just like, yeah, let's get this money, but anything in the way, I don't give a fuck, whatever, it's whatever. So, man, Jeff was like, man, basically like another brother to me, man.
Well, Jeff and Jeremiah's relationship, did I know Jeff? I knew of him. You know what I'm saying? I was a little older than him, but I knew Jeff from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Just in the hood. But as far as their friendship or relationship, I would see them together, and we all sat down and talked and chilled certain times, So yeah, they had a close relationship. You would think they was brothers or cousins. You know what I mean? They were so tight.
Jeremiah had a great desire to start a record company, but he did not have the experience to do so. So he began to reach out to individuals who had made a name for themselves in the music business. With the information that Jeremiah received from these knowledgeable individuals and several other sources, he took that knowledge and applied it towards building his own record label empire.
He did talk to me about starting a record company, but at the time when he was telling me this, then this St. Louis, so you don't really have too many artists back there at that time, big name artists. You know what I'm saying? You might have had your Silk Smooth, somebody that might got a little commercial with Trick with a good rap, but we really didn't have no artists around here at that time that was making noise like, you know what I'm saying? So when he was telling me this, I was looking at it like, man, that's cool, but man, we need to get this money. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what he wanted, man. You know what I'm saying? I never told him, don't do it. That's what you want to do it. I remember him calling me one time. He was like, hey, man, remember I was telling you about that music or whatever, but I got an artist, you know? And I'm like, yeah, you know. So I stopped what I was doing. He said, hey, man, can you meet me at this music store? It was a music store. I think it was McMurray's or something like that. And it was located on Page, I think in Overland. And I met him up there, pulled up. He was just telling me what he was trying to do. He needed to get a beat machine. You know, at the time, man, I ain't know nothing about no beat machines, none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't even my lane. He was just like, hey, bro, this is what I'm trying to do, man. We can do this. And I'm like, if you feel like you want to do it, let's do it. What you need, you know what I'm saying? He just asked me. I gave him a few dollars, whatever he was trying to do. I don't know. I think he had the money, but you know, he probably just needed me to swing by because I was close by. He didn't have to run and get no money or something. But that's how I found out about what he was trying to do. I think he either was getting a beat machine, a keyboard, or microphones or something. But I pulled up. I think that's the first time I met Gruesome, his artist or whatever. I think that was the first time I ever met him, period, you know.
The first thing Jeremiah knew he had to do to make the record label official was, of course, to come up with a name and then register it for copyright and legal purposes. He also needed a place to set up shop. The first artist to sign to Showmo Records was Maurice Hammonds, also known as Gruesome Murders.
Whatever the fuck you call your motherfucking self. We bringing this shit from the middle to the south, to the east, to the west, wherever the fuck you at. Just remember, stay focused, trust no man, no bitch. And whatever the fuck you do to somebody else might come back to your motherfucking ass 2 times. I'm gonna let my first routine, Gruesome, tell y'all about it. And watch out for that haters.
Jeremiah, he was a young brother in the hood, hustling. You know, of course, everybody back there was getting their hustle on. You know, Jeremiah stood out because he had the 2 goals. You know, he was a skinny young dude, you know, but he was different from the rest because he's pretty ambitious. When I met him, well, I'm going to speak about when I met him when we was talking about music. He had came up to me. It was, like I said, it was back in the 90s, and he stepped to me. He was like, hey, man, you know, because back in the day, you know, my name was popping because I was an older dude that rapped and just legendary in the hood, you know. So he came to me, said, man, one day I'm gonna get on, bro. I'm gonna come get you. And we're gonna make this money, we're gonna make this music. So I'm like, okay, yeah. I heard that a lot, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm like, okay, that's cool, you know, we'll do that. What happened after that conversation when I met him about him being interested in the music once he get on, because it sounded like he was determined, I was like, okay, cool. So within that time, I had moved to Kansas City for like 3 years, and that's when my daughter was born. And so 3 years later, after that, I moved back to St. Louis with my daughter and her mother. And at the time, I was staying with my aunt. We were staying with my aunt because she had this huge house, and she, you know, wanted us to come there. So we came, me and my daughter and her mama. And I had a knock at the door one day. I was back in St. Louis probably about 2 months, you know, and nobody came on. I didn't know nobody knew I was back really, and nobody knew I was there. But I had a knock at the door, and I look out. I'm like, you know, I know this guy, you know, and I kind of opened the door, and it was Jeremiah, you know. He's like, I think he was puffing a blunt or something. He's like, what's up, man? Hey, you ready? You ready? I'm like, you ready for what, man? I'm like, dude, how you know where I live at? Man, he's like, man, you know, man, I know how to find you. I'm like, okay, ready for what? He's like, man, let's get this studio. I'm like, man, come on, man, for real, man? I said, you bullshitting. So he's like, no, come on out, man, I want to show you something. So it was a BMW sitting in the driveway. He had, I guess it was Gail, it was his girlfriend at the time, I guess. And so I walked out the house. I don't even know if I had on some shoes. I came outside, I had socks on. And I saw the BMW was nice, you know. So I said, okay. So I said, man, he popped the trunk. He said, how much it cost for a studio? I said, man, shit, man, it's gonna cost some money for us. Cause every day you don't get nobody knocking on your door talking about let's go buy a studio. I know some money involved in there. I said, man, probably about 10 G's or something like. He said, all right, check this out. Man, dude opened the bag, man, it was hundreds, man, and I ain't never seen this much money in my life, bro. So I'm like, oh yeah, hold on, let me go get my shoes. I said, come on, let's go. And I had a job at the time, I think it was like some telemarketing company. He was like, man, how much they pay you? And I wasn't getting paid that much. And I told him how much they paid. And he said, man, I'll pay you double that, man. Just get in the studio and write. I'm like, bet, let's go. So we went and, where we go, to McMurray's or something like that? And probably shouldn't have said the name, but I can say the name, right? Went to McMurray's music store. And he bought a studio, man. He got beat machines, keyboards, all that, man. Just anything you needed, mics, anything you needed for a studio, he got that. So he made good on his word. He's like, man, we finna start this rap, man. These niggas are coming up, man. It's time for us to come up, bruh. I'm like, bet, let's do that. So he made good on his word, because you hear that a lot of times when you're trying to come up, and a lot of people love your art, but they ain't willing to back you up if you ain't got the finances. So he made good on his word.
He created a roster of artists for Showmo Records. He pulled upon the skills of his little brother, LB, for Little Blue, and his cousin Marlon, also known as Mo or Mo Beats.
He pretty much was getting the idea, like, putting up a group, and my oldest brother was telling him, like, man, you need to fuck with your cousin and your little brother, because they got it, you know what I'm saying? And due to my cousin Mo with the drum corps, shit, me freestyling all the time, and just, growing into that mindset of music, and we spit it for him a little bit, and he was like, he wasn't really much into, at that time, like, really trying to figure out. He was more trying to really, like, figure out financially, how can I start my label, you know what I'm saying? And as he was doing that, me and my cousin Mo, we was kind of like creating songs, coming up with songs. Mo was coming up with beats, and, that's how I pretty much basically all started, and we just went on from there.
Y'all would be at my house writing raps and shit. And, I was always playing the music in the house, and y'all would be rapping and writing songs and shit. So I told him, I said, hey, man, whatever you do, whatever move you make sure you get your cousin and your little brother. Because they into that rap shit. They be writing shit and be rapping for me and shit. That shit sound good.
Jeremiah found out we rap because his older brother. I used to spend a lot of time over his older brother's house just visiting. So me and LB, me and Lil Blue, and we used to be over his brother's house just singing. I mean, not singing, but like rapping off of instrumentals and stuff. So his brother already knew, his older brother knew, like, dang, okay, these boys can rap. So I guess when Jeremiah started talking about want to start a record label or want to deal with music, period, his brother was like, man, if you're going to deal with that music, you need to go holler at your cousin and your brother. Them boys, they can flow. They got that rap. They can get down. So he came and souped us up. This probably like couple months later. He came to soup us up. He had a 4-track and he had an ASR drum machine. And we went to his mother house. And that's the first time I met Gruesome. I met Tactics and Q, some other artists out in Webster Grove that he had or was about to start working with. So we was over at my auntie house and just making the music, trying to learn how to work the ASR and the 4-track. And my auntie, she wasn't going for that.
Well, we took the equipment a couple of different places. I think we took it first to his mother's house, and I believe that was in Rock Hill, and we tried to set up there, you know, and she was cool for probably like 15 minutes. Man, we got to making them beats, got to rumbling the flow. She's like, oh no, y'all gotta go. It's too loud. Y'all not finna do this, right?
I remember when Jeremiah and my nephew and son came over to my house, and Jeremiah had some studio equipment, and they went downstairs in the basement, and I had just got off from work, and tired, and they downstairs. Jeremiah, he got the music blasting, the whole house shaking, and bam, and I was like, oh nah, y'all ain't finna do all that down here. Y'all, you need to take that stuff and take that stuff somewhere else, because all that rattling and shaking, nah, y'all ain't getting ready to do that.
After that music started blasting and we started making too much noise, she was like, Jeremiah, y'all need to go ahead and y'all need to take that somewhere else. That y'all make too. I can't do it. I thought I can do it. I can't do it. Y'all need to go somewhere else. So I think we ended up over Gruesome Brother house for a minute. We went over there and set up. That lasted for a minute. Then we ended up going to my mother's house. Now my mother's house was like was the safe haven, that's where everybody was at. That was the spot to be at. So once we set up over there, that was like our safe haven. Everybody came over there. That was the creative space where we created until we went to South Kings Highway.
I found out Jeremiah was doing music. Well, I knew he had studios other places, but I think it became more relative to me when he moved it into my basement. And he started bringing equipment over, and we kept a house full of people. Jeremiah was very influential with his friends and with his family. You know, he would have been their way out or their way to their next level with the thought that he put into in developing the music and the people that he brought together. So I knew then that if he could really get that established, that everything would be good for all of them.
Jeremiah had purchased, it was a one-room studio apartment at Ballistic Studios. It was down at the bottom. And we used to go there, take the equipment that we had at my auntie house and moved it down there.
I remember dude Jeremiah, a.k.a. Blue. I met him through my childhood friend, you know, Marlon, a.k.a. Mo Beats. You know what I'm saying? Blue, which is big cousin, due to the fact that I love making music. I love rap. Coming up, listen to Big Daddy Kane, all that, Coogee rap, you know. East Coast was popping then. Early 90s, little UGK, MJG, 8 Ball. And I met him because we was doing music and they introduced me to him. And when I met him, I say, man, who is this nigga with these big ass goals? You hear me? And he had these little funny ears. And I was looking at him like, but nigga, shit, I'm looking at him like, shit, I heard things about him, you know, he hustling and shit like that. So I'm looking at him like, who the hell is this dude, right? But then when he met me, he took a liking to me. You know what I'm saying? And from that point on, shit, it was like this shit. That was my dude, man. Shit, man. We started out from the mud. Shit, goddamn me. Shit, we was like at a few studios. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that, Rec Shop? Then we went to, we had went to Clayton Studio. Out there in Clayton. Some white dude, you know what I'm saying? He had the shit, though. The shit, it came to a point, goddamn me, where shit, Jeremiah was like, man, fuck going to these people's shit. Shit, I want to get my own shit. You know what I'm saying? So from that point on, goddamn me, we was over on Kings Highway. And shit, we was recording music, you know what I'm saying? And he was moving and grooving, trying to get us to the point we needed to be. Because at the time, you know, Master P,
shit, he was popping. You know what I'm saying? Then the Hot Boys came out. But goddamn me, Master P was popping, so shit, my nigga thought he was P, goddamn me. He wanted to be in the P movement, shit. He had money, like shit. I got the artists, good artists at that, good young artists, you know what I'm saying?
When we started recording, I think we was down on the south side or something like that, like off Kings Highway somewhere. He had a little room in there, like they had multiple studios in there, but we had like a little room down there. Wasn't no bigger than about 10 by 10 room, like it'd be like 15 niggas in here every night recording and dropping beats, all type of shit.
When I started fucking with them, that's where they was at, you know what I'm saying? So we was down there, shit, putting shit together, coming up with beats and shit, you know what I'm saying? Smoking weed, fucking with hoes and shit, you know what I'm saying? We was down there kicking it. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers trying to reach they goals and shit, you know what I'm saying? So and then eventually we all went upstairs and shit to the big studio.
When they first got the studio, which was they already had, you know, different groups, different bands in certain areas of the studio, and they also they did CDs at that time, CD duplications and stuff like that. So he rented a room that was on a lower level that we'd go and, you know, and like I said, get our craft tight. And that's the first time we actually had our own, we can call it our own place, our own spot. It was over at Ballistics, but we got that room downstairs and we was rocking it from there. We was doing it.
Due to financial issues the owner of Ballistics was having at the time, Jeremiah was given the opportunity to move from the basement of the building to the upper level of the building and take over a fully equipped studio solely for Showmo Records.
What's up, world? My name Kevy Trax. Yeah, I'm a former producer with Showmo Records, with Blue, with Mob Too Many, with Gruesome. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of hits. We did a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell my side. I became a part of Showmo Records production team. I met Mo Beats. We went to school together one day, you know what I'm saying? And I was explaining to Mo Beats on how I make beats and how I was dealing with a label before the time. It was called D2 Entertainment. And, you know, a lot of it was word of mouth, you know what I'm saying? But Mo had the faith in me to introduce me to Blue. I never knew anyone out in that area. I was a new guy from the city. I was from the north side of St. Louis, and I had just moved out in the neighborhood. So I was new and didn't know anyone. So, you know, Mo Beats is the one that introduced me to Blue, and that's how the magic started.
I met Kevy in high school. I used to go to McClure High School, and then up to my sophomore year, my junior year, they made me go to Berkeley High School. Once I went to Berkeley High School, it was just like McClure. You sitting in the hub, everybody rapping around. I'm making beats, everybody making beats on the table or with their mouth. And you'll know who really mess with that music. And I met Kevin from doing that, and he was like, "Hey, bro, I got a MPC. Won't you come over my house after school?" I was like, "All right, bet." So I went over his house that day after school, and he just started playing all these different beats off the MPC. And I was like, "Damn, bro, you hard, bro." I said, "Man, I gotta let you meet my CEO, man, my cousin."
Meeting Jeremiah for the first time. He picked me up at my house. You know, I didn't know who he was. Mo sent him to me, but I went to his house. I mean, he came to my house, I'm sorry. And he picked me up and told me to ride in the car. Now, remind me, I didn't have any type of beats on CD at the time. It was just word of mouth. But he drove me around and told me his vision on what he was trying to do. You know, and at the time, I was leaving the situation, and I was like, okay, I want to try this. And by me being cool with Mo Beats, you know what I'm saying, I agreed with it, and we took a couple rides around the block, and I just told, like I said, it was all word of mouth. I said, hey, put me in front of a keyboard, a beat machine, or whatever, and I could just prove to you what I could do.
Blue was like, shit, man, fuck that. I can take this money that I'm paying these other people, shit, and get my own shit. So we ended up on Kings Highway, and we was dealing with them for a minute. Then he ended up buying the shit. You know what I'm saying? He ended up buying the motherfucking studio. So we in this motherfucker all night, nigga. But me personally, nigga, I love music. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, leave me at the studio, nigga. I'm sleeping here.
And Kevin would be in that motherfucker when we got him, goddamn me. This nigga making beats. He doing whatever Blue tell him, goddamn me. Said that nigga making beats all motherfucking night. And I'm in this motherfucker just all night with him, goddamn me. Shit, you know what we do in the studio, smoking, drinking, goddamn me, doing us.
At the time, Jeremiah, he was just like, man, we gonna be upstairs. Give me a few months, but we gonna be upstairs.
When we went upstairs to the big studio, and Jeremiah always had his mind set on getting upstairs. He already had an idea. He's like, hey, I'm going upstairs. We're gonna be upstairs, bro. Cause it was a full studio. It was Ballistic Studio. Ballistic did like CD duplicates, posters, and they had a recording studio.
The opportunity came where he can get the whole goddamn place. And he got the whole damn place. That's when we moved upstairs. And it was big as a motherfucker. And then the engineer, he got him under his wing. And shit, it was all gravy then. You know what I'm saying? Shit, the engineer mixing and mastering shit. But goddamn, we started from nothing, man.
During the process of recording Gruesome's first EP in California, Jeremiah began to experiment with rapping himself.
Because we actually flew to California. This is the first time I ever flown, man. You know, in my life, I'm like, man, I ain't trying to get on that airplane. He's like, nigga, nah, I'm finna get you fucked up, and you gonna get on this airplane. So he did just that. We got fucked up, man.
His first official appearance was on a song that Gruesome wrote called Live to See Another Day. But his first solo song was called On Business, I'm Bustin' Heads.
His first rap was like, it was good, but it just like he kind of stuck like a 12 bar into basically like a one whole bar of saying the same word.
Jeremiah, when Jeremiah started first rapping, man, his first rap was dope. He was rapping like, get on the flow, making a lot of dough. You don't want that smoke. You don't want no more. Yeah, show. Like, but he was saying some hip shit in between the shit, so the shit was tight. When he came with another rap, he had that same cadence. Instead of saying dough, he was saying, jam, now I get the yams, and I'm on my ground. Then me and Blue, his brother LB, we're like, cuz, that shit dope, but you gotta like flip your words up. You can't keep rhyming the same word after the word, after each bar. You gotta flip it up. Then he's like, man, what y'all mean? Then once we explained to him, gave him an example.
Me and Mo, we kind of gave him an example of some shit we wrote or whatever, and shit, man, he came back with maybe a few days later, swooped us up. It's like, man, listen to this. Charges brought up somebody, mentioned my name. It's gonna be some murder.
Committed, I cannot explain. Man, I'm just a dusty nigga, but I ain't scared to let out to a boss a nigga. If you ain't my to me knee, I never trust you, nigga. I'm sick of hustling for pennies, I want 7 figure. Lad beef a nigga had it, killed 11 nigga. Fuck with us, I have a truckload Mac 11 niggas. Ready to bust, ready to unload, reload. There's money over these hoes, I sport Gucci, but I also stack them Jibbo. Fitted, had them Reeboks to get the rapping won't stop. I done back these the cops on my blizzard, but now I got a plan to feed Lil Justin. If it don't work, my 9 million gon' get the bustin'. Every word I spill, I know you gotta feel. I done slept on the floor, no money to pay my bills, just me and my steel, but I still
like when he spitted that, and it was like, man, I was just like, psh.
Upon completing Gruesome's EP, it was time to start promoting the music and the record label. In the summer of 1998, Jeremiah threw his very first event, the Shomo Car Show, featuring Goodie Mob. This turned out to be one of the biggest concert events of the year. From this day onward, Shomo Records had stamped itself as the new label to be looking out for in the Lou.
Back in '98, when everybody was on stage at Jay's on the Landing, and it was Goodie Mob that came. It was Goodie Mob that came, that Blue had come down. It was Goodie Mob.
Went on Jay's on the Landing. Nice big outside venue, man, about I mean, like at like 10 or 11, and like it opened up early that day, like so about 12 or some motherfucker, like, man, this motherfucker ain't gonna do that, dog. You know what I mean? But by the time 5 o'clock it started rolling around, that motherfucker got slammed. We like, damn. Man, that day was epic.
Jay's on the landing, he brung Goody Mob down. Shit, we all performed, everybody got on stage, performed.
Down at Jay's on the landing, man, it was epic. It was like the beginning of Showmo, for real. The name, shit, us, Mob Too Many, everybody is, the fan base just went up from there. I mean.
And then we did the court show down at Jay's on the Landing. That's when we opened up for Goody Mob. We rocked the house, you know. We outdid them, but it's cool, you know. I ain't hating them. They did a good job, but we brought it, though. I ain't gonna lie. I was really proud of that show.
Mayday Parade, we was in the limousine. We had the limousine out there and shit. We running down, giving out T-shirts, CDs and shit. Man, it was just dope. You heard me? If anybody remember the Mayday Parade, you know what I'm saying? It was like the place to be on a Sunday. You heard me? May 21st. Shit, but we was out there kicking it, though. You know what I'm saying? It was just promoting ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get out there. Everybody show love.
Yeah, I remember that. That was Mayday Parade. Yeah, he had grabbed them kids and took them. Yeah, that was a good thing, man. Yeah, but them kids had a good time, man. He picked round them kids up, man, right off Busey. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Round them kids off. They ain't kids out there playing, you know what I'm saying? Man, we put Showmo down there on every stop sign, stop light. If you roll down any motherfucking where you seen a Showmo poster. And you know, people probably still got Showmo CDs to this day.
With other established local record labels such as PD Wax, VIP Records, Sub-Zero, D2 Entertainment, and others, there developed this friendly competition which played out when it came to choosing which clique or label you were going to rep in the city. With Nelly and the St. Lunatics signing to a major label, Jeremiah was looking at them as potential competition. Jeremiah is heard saying in the commercial when asked if Nelly was going to be there, quote, "Don't be asking me about no damn Nelly. I know Showmo gonna be there." Nelly and the St. Lunatics must have heard the slight diss from the radio commercial because the day of the car show, they showed up.
UAW Hall on Goodfella, that's when Nelly came up there and Blue got into it with that nigga then. Hey, that when Nelly, he had just got the popping with that motherfucker Down Baby. Shit, that motherfucker took off. Hey, yeah, that UAW Hall, man, we had a damn good time, bro. On stage, we ripped that motherfucker, and there was a bunch of people there at that car show, bro. As a matter of fact, if I ain't mistaken, that was June. It was somewhere probably around June 6th, between June 6th and 15th, somewhere like that, or the 24th of 2000, man.
At the UAW Hall, like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't shoot no shots at nobody, but like this was Nelly was just getting up and everything, and some of his, we had a show at the UAW Hall on Goodfella. And some of his guys pulled up, and Jay felt disrespected somehow. He jumped on top of his Land Cruiser, started showing off.
The day of the car show, Nelly then pulled up. Nelly pulled up in a blue extended Suburban. That's like right when he signed. So this like, that car show was like 99 or something. And I remember we was inside the building, and his sister called him. She was the one taking the money at the gate for the cars to come in. And she called him and was like, yeah, Jeremiah, Nelly out here. He want to know, do he got to pay? He got 2 cars. And he was like, yeah, he got to pay. Yeah, he got to pay. So they paid. Nelly and them come in or whatever, walked in. It was some gangster stuff. To come in, somebody slight diss you, and you pull up and come to the show. They're like, man, who are these niggas that dissing me? You know what I'm saying? So he coming into the show, and right after we got done performing, Jeremiah had like a wad of money, and he was like, he went up to Nelly, he was like, I got 10,000 that my artists kill any one of y'all right now. I got 10,000 right now, and Nelly was like, Nelly smiled like, bro, man, we ain't come for all that, man. We just came to support you, man. We ain't come for all that. He like, man, I got 10. So y'all want the 10? Y'all want the 10? All right. So as the car show was ending or whatever, and Nelly them exiting the venue, driving out. Jeremiah, he's standing on top of the Land Cruiser. He had a Land Cruiser and he had a black Denali truck. So he got both of them parked like this. So he's standing on the Land Cruiser and he got money in his hand, and Nelly them, they driving past and he like, man, both of these mine. Both of these paid for. I don't got no label signed me. I signed to myself. I signed all my stuff. We get money around here. And Nelly just looking at me like, just smiling like, man, dude, a wild boy, man. But yeah, that was the last event we threw before he got killed.
After putting together the UAW Hall car show, it was time to get back in the studio and create. Being that Jeremiah was funding the Shomo movement out of his own pocket, at times it would be a financial burden on the young CEO. Due to the limited access to the recording studio, many of Shomo artists never officially dropped music for the label. Before his passing, Jeremiah was in the midst of restructuring the branding of the label and to kill off the rumor that Shomo causes problems wherever they go. He was prioritizing all the artists on his label to create a Shomo Records compilation album. Several weeks leading up to Jeremiah's death, he made numerous trips from St. Louis to Cali, St. Louis to Memphis, making connections, handling street business, as well as promoting the label.
Then trip to Memphis, right? This was September 2000, man. September 2000, somewhere around, what was it? Somewhere around September 26, somewhere up in there, maybe 27. But we go down, we go to Memphis. You know what I'm saying? We leave St. Louis. Me, him, another individual that made music with a rap group. He's with a rap group. They made music. And another individual he's with. So we going to Memphis, man. And I'll never forget, man. We riding. You know, one person, first Blue was driving. Then they swamped. Him and another individual that was going. They swamped so he could drive some. And then that nigga Blue went to sleep, man. He went to sleep and he woke up like, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, a nigga like, damn, nigga, what the fuck? I'm like, nigga, what the fuck wrong with you? My nigga say, man, I had a dream, man, I was dead in the ditch. I'm like, damn, nigga, you had a dream, you was dead in the car in the ditch? He's like, yeah, man. So we get to Memphis, and goddamn me, we in Memphis, right? One individual he's with, his people from Memphis, you know what I'm saying? These niggas, shit, at the time these niggas was doing it. That's when I found out what flats was, you know what I'm saying? Them just some rims, just flat. He did the flat. And we get there, and niggas gambling and shit. And I'm just sitting back peeping the scene. That's what I do when I'm around my niggas, you know what I'm saying? Cause goddamn me, 4 eyes better than 2 eyes. So I'm just peeping the scene. And the nigga gambling. Losing his money like a motherfucker. But goddamn me, it wasn't nothing for him to make a call and get that goddamn money. Western Union to keep shooting dice.
He went to Memphis, and I get a call. Well, I get a call from him. He was like, hey, Mo, so-and-so about to pull up. Hey, get him $5,000. So I like, all right. So I go to his stash, give him count out 5,000. Give his friend 5,000 so he can Western Union him the money to Memphis. So I say about an hour and a half go past, 2 hours, if that, the guy come back. He's like, hey man, I need, Jeremiah said he need another 2,500. Give him another 2,500. So I'm like, man, dang, I just gave you 5. So I ain't know what dude was on. So I called Jeremiah, and he didn't answer. But then he called me back like, hey, I say, yeah, what's your name here, man? He said, give him another 2,500. He like, give him another 25. He about to send me another 2,500.
And one nigga from Memphis, he like, man, Y'all hungry, man? Niggas like, yeah, shit. So this nigga had some girls pull up, man. I'm talking about whatever whole these was, dog. They riding in BMWs and shit. These bitches bring a whole motherfucking aluminum foil pan full of chicken, celery, goddamn me, ranch and shit. So we sitting there, you know what I'm saying? They still gambling shit early evening. So nigga from Memphis like, man, y'all better hurry up and eat that shit, man, for the flies eat it, all country and shit. You feel what I'm saying? So from that point on, man, goddamn me, we went to a football game. It's a high school football game, but it's a rivalry, which is like a little college, man. It's called Melrose. It's one of the schools, and then you got Hamilton. So we go there, right? You know, trying to have motherfuckers buy the Showmo CD, which was like snippets. You know, it had like 2 songs, 2 full songs, but it's like snippets, like coming to you soon type shit. So we had this game, man. Goddamn me, I'm out here trying to jug these motherfuckers. I'm selling some until I come across one little dude, right? He seen me give some hoes some, right? He seen me give some girls some. And then I try to sell it to him. He say, man, I just seen you give them. Why I can't get one of them free? So I get a nigga one free, right? But from that point on, goddamn me, shit, nigga, we had a hotel room. So me and the other individual that's with the rap group who was there to promote his album, what he had going on, as well as what we was doing. We sitting in the hotel and he was like, shit, man. He's like, shit, man, Gangsta T, man, I don't know what the fuck going on. But he like, bruh, these niggas ain't promoting no goddamn music. These niggas just left us at the hotel, right? So shit, dude, he called his girl. He like, man, come get me. Cause shit, nigga, I came up here to promote. Goddamn me. But shit, I don't know what the fuck going on. So he like, man, come get me. So his girl came and got him. I knew my nigga, goddamn me, was down there to promote, but on who he is, the type of guy he is, you know what I'm saying? Shit. Nigga, he gonna promote, but goddamn me, to promote, goddamn me, gotta keep this motherfucking income, this cash coming in, you know what I'm saying? So shit, niggas gonna do what they do, you feel what I'm saying? So on our way back from Memphis, right? My dude was like, man, matter of fact, we got back on a Monday. And he was like, yeah. He's like, man, I gotta hurry up. He was trying to get back before 4 o'clock because his mama was in town, you know what I'm saying? Miss Diane, she was in town. So he like, man, I gotta get back before 4 o'clock. I gotta see my mama. That's all he was stressing. Like, man, he gotta see her before she get on that flight back to Florida.
We was getting ready to go back home, and I had talked to him on the phone, and he was like, Mama, I can beat her. I'm on my way back from, I think he was in Memphis. And he was like, I'm on my way back from Memphis. Can y'all just stay there and just wait for me? I'm on my way back. I'm coming. I'm on my headed to back that way now, you know. And I was like, Jeremiah, we have 13 hours to drive, and it's gonna take us a long time to get home. And he was, you know, he was just trying to convince us to stay, and me and my oldest son. But we had to get back because I had to get back to work, and my oldest son had to get back to work. And we just didn't wait it. And a lot of times I always think, especially when he passed away, like if I only would have waited, I just never got to see him again. And you know, I think about that sometimes. Like if I would have just, you know, just because he really, it's like I don't know if he felt like he would never see me again, or you know. And I always just wonder what was it that he wanted to tell me, or that he wanted to, that urged him so much to want to see me, you know, that time on that visit here. Because he was like, he was really adamant about, yeah, I want to see you, you know, I want to see you. And I always think about that, you know.
So shit, his whole goal was trying to get there. But shit, by the time we made it back to St. Louis, it was like, I say close to 4:30, like pushing 4:30. So he missed her, you know what I'm saying? But shit, I don't know, the whole motherfucking ride, man, we dropped off one individual, and it's, I don't know. the whole ride is just like, I don't know, it was just something wasn't right. You know what I'm saying?
My last conversation I had with my little brother, man, he was in Memphis, Tennessee, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he was down there with some guys from St. Louis or something, and I just remember hearing a lot of people in the background. And I'm just telling them, man, asking them like, who you with? Be careful out here. You know, these guys, they be saying they your friends, they your buddies, but if they ain't your day ones or something, man, you can't trust everybody.
The night of his murder, it was said that Jeremiah had some type of confrontation with an individual and his group inside a nightclub, which led to a brawl and gunshot. Till this day, it is still unclear if this incident had anything to do with his death.
The day that Jeremiah was killed, it started off a good day. And Jeremiah had called me that morning. I don't even remember that conversation, but I knew I wasn't feeling well that morning, and our grandmother and grandfather was living here, and I asked him to go by McDonald's and grab breakfast for him, something I never did. And he said, okay. So he went, he got the breakfast and brought it over. Then he went down in the basement, was fooling with the music for a minute, and I heard him leaving, and I heard the name Stacy. And so I ran to the window, and I was trying to tease him about his middle name being Stacy. So I always thought Jeremiah Stacy was a beautiful name. And when I got to the window, I couldn't get the window up fast enough, so I ran. I had this I was just compelled to just tease him about his name. And when I got to the door, he had pulled off. And I didn't see Jeremiah no more that day.
I never forget, nigga, September 30th. So I'm in the city. And I called him, because my brother, Goldie, wanted to holler at him. Like, man, call Blue, man, I'm trying to holler at him. So I called him like, look, bro, we gonna come out there and holler at you. He like, all right. So we get out there to holler at him, goddamn me. Shit, nigga, Mo and them like, shit, man, nigga just left. I'm like, what the fuck? He just left, nigga. Man, we told the man we were coming out here to meet him, you know what I'm saying? He just left. I'm like, who the fuck he with? They was like, he was with one person they know, but shit, some other motherfucker they didn't know. I'm like, what the fuck? He with a motherfucker y'all don't know? Shit, most of the time, goddamn it, y'all know the person he with.
The day Jeremiah was killed, that night I got dressed. I was sitting on the porch because we was about to go out that night. And I was the only one there for some reason at that time. And he pulled up in the Land Cruiser, and he had somebody else in the car with him. I couldn't tell who it was at the time. And he pulled up. And at this time, he was going from Cali to Memphis, so I ain't really see him like that. Plus, the studio was so many artists down at the studio where I wasn't really going down there because it was just limited access to recording and trying to make beats. So I wasn't really down there like that at the time. I was a pop in, pop out. But so he pulled up and was like, hey, cuz, I know I ain't been messing with y'all, meaning Mob Too Many. He like, I know I ain't been messing with y'all on the music like that. He like, but cuz, hey, we in the studio tomorrow. He like, hey, cuz, we on, bro. We on, cuz. He like, when I say we on, man, I mean we on, man. So I'm taking it like he didn't came up on a lick, he didn't got some extra money, or he got some connect. It was some pertaining to some either money or he got a connection with the music. I don't know I don't know what he meant by that, but when he said he was on, that mean it's about to be go time. So he was like, yeah, cuz I'm about to go to this one club first. Then I'm going to this club. It was a club across the street from my studio on South Kings Highway. And he was like, I'm gonna go to the club on South Kings Highway. And he like, what y'all on? So I was like, shit, we about to go somewhere else. I say, after we leave where we leave, we gonna pull up over there. When we pull up to the club that was across from Kings Highway, it was like it was it was closed or it was letting out. So we asked the bouncer like or the goer like, damn, hey, the club closed, bro. He like, yeah, they somebody started fighting in here. Then it was a shootout outside, so we had to close the club down. So as soon as he said that, man, Jeremiah just popped in my head. I'm like, man. So I started calling him. Like, damn, man, make sure he was cool. Didn't get no response. So we all go back to the house, and we went in the basement. We was down in the basement for about 45 minutes. Just winding down, about to lay down. And it's about like 1 something, I guess, almost 2. Well, it's probably 2 something. I can't remember. But my older sister come to the top of the stairs, and she was like, Marlon. And you can hear that. You can hear her in her voice like she was crying or something. She's like, Marlon. I'm like, what? She's like, somebody just killed Jeremiah. I say, what? She's like, somebody just killed Jeremiah.
After arriving at his great-grandmother's home, in which he bought and was rehabbing for himself, this once shared home full of family memories of a young Jeremiah will be the place he was murdered.
2 o'clock that next morning, my phone rang, and it was his friend telling me to get over on Torlina. They called him Blue. He said, you need to get over on Torlina. Something happened to Blue. And at the time, I did not have a car, so I called my girlfriend, Dorothy, and her son had just walked in. She told him, and he was over here in seconds. He was over here in seconds.
Torlina, me and TT ended up getting over there. By the time we get over there, they asked us to identify the body and shit.
I can remember the brake lights were still on the truck. Sitting in the driveway, which was my grandmother's house, and sitting in the driveway, and we stood down there, and I was talking because the phone call said that something done happened and it's not good. So you need to get over there. And it's like a call that anytime my phone rang in the middle of the night, it was a call that you never want to hear and stuff. And so that's how I got there, me and Manny. Then everybody else started showing up after the phone calls. Stuff I can't remember everybody that was with me that night. You know, because it's like you just going through the motions. And I believe it's a police officer came down and asked, where was his aunt? They say his aunt is here. And I said, that's me. And so they had me go to the truck to identify his body and stuff. And you know, every now and then you go through your day, you still see that. And I saw and I knew it was him. I remember the little mark on his face where he had put the electrical cord in his mouth as a little boy and it burnt him. I could see that. And the clothes he had on and everything. But it was like peace. It was like he just laid back and he was asleep. You know, and that was it. Then I had to go call my sister.
My oldest son, we were living in Florida, and he bammed on my bedroom door, and he was like, Mama, Jeremiah dead. I say, what? He say Jeremiah dead.
The night that he was killed, it was a strange night all the way around. My kid's mother, Angie, called me, and she said, "Hey, it's a guy at my door. He's saying he know you. His name's Smooth. He wants to talk to you." All right. So I'm thinking to myself, well, why is he at my kid's mother house? You know what I'm saying? And then, I just said, hey, don't let him in. Don't worry about it. Just don't let him in. You know what I'm saying? So I think he was being real persistent or something, because she said, I'm going to call the police. So I just got out the phone. It was real late because I know I was sleepy or something, but I just said, all right. She said she going to call the police. So I went to lay back down. And I laid there for like about 5 or 10 minutes. And then I just woke up, because at the time my girl Gigi, she was in the bed with me, and you can ask her this, man. I woke up and I said, Jeremiah. That's the first thing came across my mind. I just said, Jeremiah. And then I got my phone. I called Angie back. I said, hey. I said, you just said Smooth was at your door? She said, yeah. She said, I asked her, I said, well, what did he want? She said, no, he just needs to talk to you. It's real urgent or whatever. So I asked her, I said, man, have you heard anything about Jeremiah? She was like, nah. So I said, oh, okay. So, I felt confident in that. So I got off the phone. I took my butt to sleep. About an hour and a half later, and it's Eastern time. I'm in Florida. So it had to be about 1:45 Eastern. So it's like 12:45 Central, something like that. And when the phone rang, and G answered the phone, and she said, no, she looked at the phone. She said, it's Boom calling you. So when she said that, I said, man, something that happened, man. It's Jeremiah. Before I even got on the phone. So when I got the phone, he was, bawling, crying real bad. I said, man, what's up, man? He like, and they killed Jeremiah, man. And I'm like, what? But I just had that feeling in my body. You get this feeling like something ain't, but I knew it was something with him. And the reason why is because he was telling me about all the situations that he was getting into for us in the streets, and he's seeing people, we got to shoot out with him and shit like that. So I knew that's what it was, man. And man, that shit broke me down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was fucked up, man.
7 o'clock in the morning, something like that. You got a knock at the door. I had spent the night on my friend's house, and got a knock at the door, and the knock on the door was just like one of the strangest knocks of my life. You know what I'm saying? And like when the knock was on the door, like me and my friend, he was on one couch, I was on the other couch, and we second knock, we both rose up and looked at each other, and the look was just like, kind of like a something happened type look. So when he answered the door or whatever, they asked for me, and or whatever, I got my stuff. They had a little buggy, they had a little golf cart or whatever. I got on the golf court, and they took me up to the front, and as I was going to the front, I just heard like a voice in my head, like, Jeremiah dead. Like, no bullshit, you not. It was just like, Jeremiah dead. And you know how you just be like, that ain't true. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of like blew it off. But as we was getting to the car, man, I seen my first person I seen was my mother. And my mother had this look on her face where like she was trying to be strong. She was trying to be strong for me and herself. But it was kind of like when I looked at her, it was just like, that's true, but I don't want to think that. So as I got to the car and got in the car, they waited till I got in the car. They put me in the front seat or whatever. And soon they shut the door, they was like, man, Jeremiah dead. We got to go home.
I remember being woke up. My nigga Mo Beats, that nigga hit me in the chest. He like, man, I'll do it, right? I'm like, I'm trying to shake off the hanks that I fucked up still. I'm like, nigga, you knew what? What the fuck you knew? He like, man, I'll do it. Then I look over and I see Nettie. I see Shanetta crying. I'm like, what the fuck she crying? This thoughts come in my head. I'm like, what the fuck she crying for? He like, man, Blue got shot. Right then, bro, I got chills on my body, bro, because that's my nigga, bro. Right then, I say, man, what the fuck? I say, that's when I hopped up, nigga, all drunkenness or whatever, hiding that nigga, that shit out the window, nigga, sober now. Nigga, I'm like, what the fuck this happening? They like, oh, grandma's house, right? Something like, shit, nigga, anybody who driving? Mother like, shit, ain't none of us driving, but they like, TT and Manny went over there. So shit, nigga, first thing I'm thinking, like, shit, nigga, they ain't fault. I'm like, come on, nigga, let's go over there. So we run over there, man. Shit, nigga, I was running so goddamn fast, I left there to everybody, you hear me? And bruh, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah.
But once we got to the end of the street, you just seen the police cars, the lights and everything, just seen the police lights. And that's when the reality set in. Like, man, this shit for real. This shit real. And as we walked up, I see my mother, and I see my cousin Manny. They up there, and my mother, she was crying, and she was like, yeah, that's Jeremiah up there. That's Jeremiah dead. And man, we pretty much stayed out there the whole time till they took him out the truck, till they took his body away. It was morning. The crime scene was still out there. And I guess word got around that it happened over there at my grandma's house. So people just started riding past the crime scene. People we knew, like, damn, is it true, bro, Jeremiah? Yep. Like gang of people. It was like people just coming to see what had happened.
Okay. I hadn't seen Jeremiah in like, I guess it was like a couple of months, but we had talked, because it was a time when we used to hang out a lot, be it studio, be it the strip joint, be it whatever, But it was like a couple of months, I had went back to work, and I know he was just getting things together on whatever he was, dealing with or working on. But it was a couple of months, but we'll still talk. But the way I was notified, me and Tactics was coming up, what street is that in Webster? I think we was coming up by Cornell and Willis, coming up Willis, headed towards Cornell. And one of his girlfriends at the time, came up to the car crying, and you hear about Jeremiah? I said, what? My heart beating. I'm like, what? What's up? She was like, yeah, he got killed last night, man. Everything was in slow motion after that, it was just surreal. I'm like, no, man. I said, are you sure? She was crying. She couldn't even get it out good. But yeah, unfortunately, it was true. But that's how I was notified. Just driving down the street, me and Tack, we finally at the same time. We was crushed, man,
I was actually in Chicago when Jeremiah was murdered. I received a call on my cell phone around 2 o'clock in the morning from Pookie Blue. And Pookie Blue, she's not anybody that I talk to on a regular basis. So I knew that when she told me who she was, I knew something was wrong. You know how your heart just immediately knows something is wrong. And she was like, Shonda, I just called to tell you that Blue got killed. I didn't know. I didn't know what was going. I didn't know what to think. My mind was just like all over the place. So I called the next. We called the airline and scheduled me a flight back home, the first available flight back home. So I got back home and got back to St. Louis and it was all real. I couldn't believe it.
It was a moment. It was a moment. I read through his death certificate, and it wasn't the bullets that killed him. It's because he had been drinking, and it caused him to bleed excessively. Yep.
The report states Jeremiah pulled up to his home. Neighbors recall being waken up from an argument occurring. They looked out the window and for a brief second and saw someone standing outside of Jeremiah's SUV before the gunshot. Eyewitnesses then say that they saw a black sedan pulling off, but they could not give the make nor model of the suspect's vehicle.
Art Jackson, I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Berkeley. I've been in law enforcement for 27 years, all with the City of Berkeley. It was September 30th, 2000, approximately at 2:20 in the morning. Berkeley Police Department received a call for shots fired in the 6700 block of Torlena. The officers canvassed the area and noticed a distinctive vehicle that was parked. And upon investigation, they found a subject later identified as Jeremiah Eldridge in the vehicle. He was pronounced dead at the scene. What happened next is the Berkeley Police Department contacted the Major Case Squad. The Major Case Squad is a group of detectives throughout the metropolitan area that comes together and helps solve murders, homicides for municipalities. With the Major Case Squad, you're going to get approximately 15 to 20 detectives focusing in on just one homicide. So Berkeley contacted the Major Case Squad. They came out and they investigated it for approximately 10 to 15 days. I know some things that were looked into that were possibly a reasoning for the homicide, specifically the drug activity. That was something that was looked into heavily. But I don't know if it was officially tied into it because the case hasn't been solved. Of course, in that early 2000, there was a high rate of crime as far as especially drug dealing. The city of Berkeley was known for some of their drug dealers. At that time, it was approximately, we've had a few drug dealers that I would call high-profile drug dealers that actually ran the city of Berkeley. As an investigator, those are the things that you look into is the person's past or what they were doing prior to their homicide. You try to develop a timeline on what occurred. In this situation, it is believed that he knew his assailant because of the direction the investigation took the detectives at that time.
Months before the day Jeremiah was murdered, up until the day of his funeral, there were several other murders occurring all over the city. At the time, the family really didn't know who could be trusted.
I ain't gonna lie, man. First thing, when I flew back into St. Louis after the situation happened, we got here. First thing that I did, shit, I think I went and got an assault rifle. I was fucked up for a while, man. I was out of here, like mentally gone, like on some get back shit. Who the fuck I'm gonna get, and where should I start? You know, I need to get back, all that. And it took, man, my mother prayed for me and she talked to me. My wife talked to me. I looked at the kids. I looked at my kids. I looked at child. I'm like, look, I got to looking at the whole thing. My aunt right there, my cousins, I'm really I'm out of the way. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like I can just show back up with an army. You know what I'm saying? I've been out the way for a while, so.
I came back home after my brother got killed. The vibe was like, I ain't give a fuck about nothing. It's just kind of like, I was kind of like grieving, but playing detective at the same time, and I don't know, just on the just go mode. Period. Just like trying to figure out shit and thinking about past beef, motherfuckers who owe the money, who looked at me wrong, who looked at any family wrong, or hated on our on our come up for this music, man. It was just like, man, I was just lost just because at the time it was like he just had so many haters. He was just getting into it with so many people at the time to where couldn't really pinpoint nothing, and I was just like basically like hurt and confused. You know what I'm saying?
The day of Jeremiah's funeral, there were heavy police and detectives present. Although Jeremiah was hated by a few, the countless numbers of family and friends that came to pay their respect showed the love Jeremiah reflected as well.
Jeremiah's funeral, it was full of a lot of anger and a lot of pain, and everybody being able to compose themselves. Because he laid there like the CEO he was.
It was hard to plan the funeral for Jeremiah. It was hard because I couldn't really do it. The person who really done it, a lot of it was my daughter, Tamisha. She done a lot of it, the planning, the going, she even actually was the one who to identify. Well, I think my sister identified, but she went and picked up the personal belongings or something because, yeah, it was hard, because what mother that would ever think that they 23-year-old child that you would bury them? A mother don't never think that she's gonna be the one. You look for that your child gonna bury you, not that you gonna bury them. And at the age of 23, so young, at the age of 23 years old, and it was very hard. Yeah, it was very hard.
I describe his funeral as weird, you know what I'm saying? Because if you just observe the faces, you know what I'm saying? I'm already in there thinking everybody is suspect, But you can tell a lot about people, man, by looking at them. You know what I'm saying? It was just weird, man. You seen hate. You seen sorrow. You know what I'm saying? You just seen fake shit. Seen that shit too. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I wasn't there for them. I was there for my brother, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to dress him up with what he liked to wear. He liked the fly shit, so I went put him in the fly shit. Got him when he got a nice casket. He wanted the fly shit, so put him in that, and sent him home, man.
Jeremiah's funeral, was something like I never seen. It was packed, it was wall to wall, standing room only. You know what I mean? Because he was coming, he came up, and a lot of people knew him, and from that music as well. You know what I mean? People knew Jeremiah, and a lot of people loved him. The funeral was packed. I remember the detectives being there, the police there, videotaping, and like you said, it's kind of, you see a lot of people that that he had some type of dealings with, and it's a crazy situation because when something happens like that, you just don't know who to trust. So some of the people that's shaking your hand and looking at you, you can feel that vibe. Like, man, it's just kind of like, it don't feel right,
That was a nice funeral, man. Nice funeral. Yeah, man. It was a nice funeral, man. Hey, he went out of style, my nigga. He went out of style. How he supposed to went out?
My brother's funeral, as I remember, it was, man, I don't want to say epic or nothing shit. It was crowded, wall to wall. It was like a mystery. It's like more like you had news, you had detectives, cameras, you just had all different shit, man. You had the people there, ain't give a fuck about them. You got people there who loved them. You had people there you don't know or whatever. But I mean,
And at his funeral, I felt peace, but I felt a discomfort because you didn't know who did it. One of them people walking up to me talking about TT, and it was hard for me to receive, because in my mind it's like the killer might be sitting here, the killer might be hugging you, shaking your hands, because at that point you wasn't sure who it was, and I can remember his brother having a hard time.
To me, it just seemed like he didn't deserve to die like that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't deserve that. And he had so much shit that he needed to do out here. He still had life to live. He still had moves to make. He already made moves. He had people ready to make moves with him. You know what I'm saying? He'd have been y'all Master P. Basically. That's what he was. That's why I look at people like the little young guy, man, Nipsey. Those people were here for a reason, dog. It's people like them that's put here to show you it's another way. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah knew that it was another way. He was trying to get out. He had one foot out the door. He was ready to go. It was just too late. His time ran out.
What stuck out in my head, man, is when we was riding, bro, and he was asleep. When we was going to Memphis, and he had that dream talking about, he had a dream he was dead in the car in the ditch. And we got back that Monday, and he ended up getting killed somewhere between 2 a.m. to 2:30 in the morning, Saturday morning. So it's like, some people know when they gonna die, bro, or have a good sense. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's something telling them, like, it's that time. That's what I believe. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody got their own belief system. That's my belief. He knew it. You feel what I'm saying? He just ain't know where it was gonna come from.
My son, I know for a fact that my son did not die in vain. I know that he didn't, and I know God has even with me building that Broken Pieces Potted Together ministry, that came from the book of Jeremiah, and I put that together why the Lord would want me to name my son that, because God knows what's gonna happen before we even know. He knew that my son was not gonna be here, so it's just amazing how things just line up, how he lines it up. And then he's the only child that ever felt a need to name a biblical name.
Our daughter was 3 years old, going on 4 years old when Jeremiah was murdered. And they always say that children's memory doesn't really start that's around the age where they start remembering things. So she vaguely remembers her dad. We took her to the funeral and everything. She saw him, but she vaguely remembers him. She remembers little trips where he picked her up and maybe took her to McDonald's or something. But she only has a couple memories of him, which is it's a kind of, I don't know, good in a way and bad in a way, because if she had all these memories, it would probably hurt so much more that he's not here with her. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say glad, but maybe it's better that, you know what I'm saying, she was young when it happened.
Yeah, my name is Jakayla, and Jeremiah was my father. So at the age of 4, I started hearing things about my father, as the sort of, I would never see him again, he wasn't coming back. So I was just a little confused. My mom was always hysterical, so I was confused. It's so crazy. I had so much interest in making music like my father. When I was younger, Like I had a whole notebook just full of raps. Like I just knew. I'm like, that's how I used to background. My daddy had his own studio, and my cousins and my uncles and my brothers, they had a little group, Mob Too Many, Like I just knew, what I'm saying, rapping was for me. Like that's what I wanted to do. But of course, as I got older, I started having kids, and it slowed me down. On I really wasn't rapping. I didn't got into boys and everything else but rapping. But yeah, music was most definitely my thing, and I think if I tap into it, and get the time, I can get back into it. But yeah, my father has two grandchildren, Jeremiah, Jason Jeremiah. Um, he's 7. He'll be 8 in a month. Callie is 2. Callie Chanel. So, yep, he has 2.
After the murder of Somo Records CEO Jeremiah Eldridge, the building on South Kings Highway where the Somo studio was located, the owner of that building tried to claim ownership of the equipment that Jeremiah had purchased himself after members of Mob to Many went to get it from the studio. In a Riverfront Times article written in 2000, the owner of Ballistics lied and was trying to blame his failing business on Jeremiah's murder. After finding legal documentation to Show Mo Records, the real name for the company was Show Me Mo Records. Jeremiah also had his older brother down as the beneficiary of the label.
Finding out that he left the record label to me, it was surprising, I always knew my brother, he loved me. He looked up to me and all that, but me not having any influence over the music, not being involved with it, I didn't even think that never crossed my mind that he'd put me down. Like I might have helped him with a few shows as far as like concerts or something like that, but being involved in everyday operations, daily, nah, I would never. I was very surprised when he left it to me. You know what I'm saying? So that just, I guess, make me feel like he thought something of me, you know what I'm saying, to do that. Yeah, it was a lot of pressure, man, because I'm looking at a group of guys that they looked up to him, man. You know what I'm saying? He was y'all CEO. He was the one making the moves. He was the one showing y'all, hey, there's money that can be made out here. We can go out here and get it. We can do it the legit way. So it was a lot of pressure on me, man. And I'm like, to inherit something that you really don't know nothing about and you really ain't motivated to do. You know what I'm saying? But what I did was I tried to put my best foot forward, man, and try to get y'all studio time and at least wanted y'all to press a CD. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all might have did some cameos or appearances on other songs with other people, but I just wanted y'all just to have y'all own. Man, we pressed the CD. I just wanted y'all to go in the studio, knock it out, put on the show. Y'all got to do the show. We got the show with Trina and Slip and Slide Records. Y'all got to do a lot of stuff, man. Y'all went to all the beach parties in Florida. Y'all got to mingle with the celebs, the Ja Rules, and the Jada Kisses and all them. So y'all got to do some shit. But me, just being who I am, man, I just wanted y'all to press a CD, man. Put y'all order out there. See if people attract to it. And if they like it, man, then they buy it. Or sign y'all or whatever, man. I try to do my part, But I wish I was motivated enough to do it like he did. Because he was motivated. He loved that music, man. He loved that music. He loved that shit. He'd travel from city to city trying to pop it off, too. So, yeah.
To me, Jeremiah was a gangster, that's Gangsta. And that's not a negative, in a negative light. My definition of gangster is getting all necessary goals situated to achieve. That's gangster to me. See what I'm saying? So that's what kind of gangster he was to me. Yeah, he'll get down in them streets, but sometimes when you're trying to follow your dreams and your goals, you're gonna do what it take, especially if you got a hustler's mentality. So he was he hustled, but it was to get out of the hustle. You see what I'm saying? He was hustling and putting his money in a direction, not to stay in the hustle, but to help people around him that he loved to get on another level of the hustle. So yeah, he was gangster. But that's my definition of a gangster. That's the type of gangster he was, because he wasn't just in the streets unnecessarily. He was in the streets with a cause.
See, one thing about it, motherfuckers know who he is. Jeremiah Eldridge, a.k.a. Blue. Motherfuckers know who he is, man. To this day, and it's 2020, man. It's 20 years ago, man. But one thing about it, shit, ain't nobody else, shit, in my 2 minutes, and Showmo and the clique died. Only Ben, man. And that was what, 2002? You feel what I'm saying? And that was my dude too, man. Ben and Blue, they was a motherfucker. But other than that, man, we still here, man. We all still here, man, which is a blessing.
The thing I miss most about Jeremiah is just him not being around, him not able to see his daughter and grandchildren. I feel like those are just missed opportunities, but I believe he's present. Because at his funeral, people spoke well of him. Things that we had no idea Jeremiah had done in people's lives, had touched their lives.
What I miss about Jeremiah is that smile he had. You can that laugh he had. That little giggle that he always had. Jeremiah had a heart that was his spirit. Oh my God, he had a spirit that would draw people unto him. And when he passed away at his funeral, there was so many people that there was not even room enough to sit down. And a lot of those people were young women who said, Jeremiah, he bought my baby milk, or he paid my rent for me when I couldn't do it, or he gave us food, And it was just so amazing to see all of the people who came and who loved him.
After the death of the young CEO, most of his artists continue to make music, still 20 years later. Many of the artists whom were once part of the Showmo movement managed to keep in touch.
If Jeremiah was never killed and the status of Showmo Records, and I'm not stunned, I really think Showmo Records was like the new Cash Money Records that would have came out of St. Louis, Missouri at the time. Because that was the whole idea of Showmo Records, the image, and the same things that he was trying to do as we see Baby, Birdman, which I'm saying by Baby, Master P, J Prince. It was the same lane. And he took care of his artists, his producers, and his family, just like we see from the outside looking in with Master P and all the other Southern labels that was out here, you know what I'm saying? So I think that Showmo Records, right now, if he was alive, we wouldn't be talking right now. You know what I'm saying? I think we'll be somewhere, with six figures. Everybody has six figures in their pocket. Because he made sure at the time when he was alive, he made sure that we was gonna get to that status. And every day and every week and every month, situations was getting better and better and better and better. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that we'll be on top of the world right now.
I really think, I know this is a cliche, but I really think that we may be successful. You know what I'm saying? We may be in like the next it in St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? Cause he was hungry, man. He had that motivation, man. He was grinding. Everybody showed love to him, man. So I really think, man, we probably would have been somewhere, man. We probably wouldn't be sitting here. You know what I mean?
I miss everything about him, man. I miss the pull-ups. Shit, the calls, like, come outside, he get in the car, shit. I'm thinking we going around the corner, shit. We going to Chicago, we going to Cali. It was just, man, I just missed them. I just miss being with him, being around him.
My nigga had them connections out of Cali. You feel what I'm saying? And promoters and shit that was willing to go to lengths for him.
man, you know, with the go-getter mentality and the ambition that he had, man, we'd be OGs in the game. You know what I'm saying? Because he was. I mean, I know a lot of people say this about certain people, but he was definitely ahead of his time, man. You know, to be a young brother, young 20s, man, you know, to see the bigger picture, you know, and just to look at stuff from another level. You know, I can remember being in Vegas. Like, I never been well, I probably been when I was a kid, but as a grown man, we went to Vegas, MGM Hotel, you know, gambling. I'm seeing him. I saw him lose 10 stacks, man, and it's 10 racks, $10,000. Get on the phone and have somebody wire him another 8. Yeah, I'm like, dude, I feel good hanging with little big bro. We gonna eat, bro. He like, Gruesome, man, I just want to show you, man. He said this. He said, I just want to show you, man, how you gonna be living, bro. We finna get on. And he meant that shit, you know what I'm saying? He meant that. He meant that. Even if it meant him doing what he did. And what he actually did is put his life on the line because of the type of, you know, the street mentality he had in a hustler's mind to want to change that around. You know, in some aspect, you're going to have to expose yourself. You know, when you coming up, you got enemies out there. I mean, him used to talk about that a lot. But his reply to that was like, fuck these niggas. I ain't running from these niggas. We finna get on. You know, I've even said, hey, man, don't you think we probably can go out of town or something and get a studio there and this and that? He's like, no, man. He was ambitious, man. Had he had not got killed, man, ain't no doubt in my mind, man. We'd be all sitting on mills right now doing, you know, we'd be all the way deep into the industry. That's real. His life was cut too soon, man. Not just cause of the music aspect, just being a young brother, you know, trying to come up. You know, and we hear that story too many times, man. You know, his life was just cut too short.
The stories that I heard about my daddy, it always seems as if, like, it's a movie. Like, I promise you, like, the life he was living was a movie. Like, he was just legendary, if you ask me. All the stories I heard be nothing but, you know, him trying to take care of his family and making sure everybody around him was straight, you know. I mean, of course, some people got, you know, his demon, you know, he was on his demon time or whatever, but majority of the stories I heard about my father, you know, he was a great man, like, family man, a great man at an early age.
Shomo Records became Shomo Family because of the deep bond created by this one individual. Long live Shomo and continue to rest in peace, Jeremiah Eldridge.
Another day to see another day.
Broke bread together, blasting and blasting, busting cats and feds, whatever. Street hustlers forever. I'm hunting for your killers till they take my breath. On top of that, your mama blaming me for your death. I understand, she just upset, but you can bet I'm smacking niggas with texts. They tell me where your killers at. We been from the same set, same friends, same foe. At the same ride, swap hoes, like clothes. And those that hate it, know you love to see your eyes cold. But I'ma put bullet holes in each and every one of them hoes. I suppose they got a price on my dome, so I never leave home. But I just the compass of my chrome, fully blown with a murder Jones. They done them wrong and kicked us out of his home. Father's out of the gone, sad zone, I'm a nigga gone. Long gone, and 2 weeks after he died, his first child was born. Another you that will never be. In memory, you'll be more till you're joined by me. And that's for real, G. And late at night when I'm sleeping, I'm tossing and turning, thanking these motherfuckers creeping. Y'all ain't killing me. And late at night when I'm sleeping, I'm tossing and turning, praying your soul ain't burning. Hope you remember me. And that's real, baby.